The decades-long decline in urban crime and rates may be about to turn. And if that sends families fleeing to the suburbs, there could be an economic ripple effect. Robert Frank joins us now with more. There's not a day that doesn't go by where we don't think about this, Robert. And when it rains, it pours. There's a lot of reasons, it seems like, to leave the cities.
Yeah, Joe, the headlines just keep coming now. From New York to Philadelphia, Chicago, L.A., even Denver, crime rates in major cities are rising in the double digits. Now, the increases are almost entirely in gun violence and homicides. Philadelphia seeing a 30% increase over last year. Chicago with a 40% increase. Denver homicides almost doubling in recent months. Now, the largest increase is in New York City, where we had 291 shooting victims in July. That is nearly triple the number of last July, posting the worst week since 1996. Now, for the year-to-date, shooting victims are up 81%. Now, criminologists cite four big reasons in New York. First, you had the lockdown starting in March, causing a big drop in gun crime initially. But when cities opened up again, it unleashed what police are calling a backlog of violence or planned retaliatory shootings. So those resumed, and you had that big spike. Secondly, you have bail reform and prison releases. Also during COVID, you had a 39% drop in arrests just this year, which some attribute to a police work slowdown. And then, of course, you have the big backlog in the court system, so you can't prosecute or process all these arrests. Now, experts say the numbers have already started coming down a little bit from July, and if schools and companies reopen, they could come down even faster, guys.
Robert,
why do they think if schools... Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, the first point you made... the first point... Okay, go ahead. Answer that, and then I'll ask you a question.
So when you look at shootings, it's not necessarily teenagers that are involved in the shootings, but according to former detectives I talked to yesterday, schools sort of keep an institutional lid on a lot of the retaliatory violence. It keeps people indoors in a sort of overseen environment. And so they say that once schools reopen, you could see a big decline in just the culture of violence that you see in some of these neighborhoods.
We were talking about pent-up demand because of the COVID, and I just can't believe what you said right at the top there, that there's pent-up retaliation demand for like beefs that people have. For
That's
real?
Right.
I mean, is that measurable? Honest to God? That's crazy.
So when you talk to the former detectives and criminologists who dig really deep into this data, they find that it's very specific to certain crimes, i.e. gun violence, in certain neighborhoods, on certain streets in certain neighborhoods. That's where all the numbers are coming from. And when they look into who's doing the shooting and why and when, they found out that basically there were these planned retaliatory shootings between gangs, between drug groups, that you couldn't find people in March and April. No one was around. And so you had people waiting until people were back out and vulnerable again until these shootings started. And that's why you saw that big spike in late June, early July that has started coming down a little bit, but is still running at about twice the level as last year.